Welcome to this information sharing video with me, MrSealyp. Ladies and gentlemen, today sees the release of patch 1.13 available on Farming Simulator 25. This will roll out over a period of time. It will probably start in a second. October the 7th, my wedding anniversary day. 30 years I've been married to MrSealyp. Craziness. Anyway, you're not here for that. Patch 1.13 for Farming Simulator 25 is now available for download on PC and consoles. Find out what improvements are in the changelog below. It brings improvements to the main game, the Mercedes-Benz pack, precision farming, and more. There's a whole load of stuff in there. Please note the patch is being rolled out across platforms. It can take some time until the update becomes available on your system. Cross-play services may be affected in the meantime. Now, there is a thing at the start that says about found a bug, because a lot of people aren't bug reporting if they find stuff. If you're finding a problem, a lot of people would message me directly and say, I found this problem. I'm not an IT help desk, and I don't suppose any other content creators are. Maybe some of them are. You need to report the bugs. So we continue to gather bug reports, feedback and other data to identify what needs fixing or improving in the future. Report bugs via the bug tracker. If you go onto the Farming Simulator website, there's a bug tracker you can go on. You can report things that are a problem. Please note we don't answer individual reports, as you're most likely not the only person to report a specific problem. Don't worry, receiving multiple reports on an issue sends us a signal that it must be important to fix. Sometimes it can be a mod conflict, sometimes it might be an error in settings, but if a lot of people are reporting it, that lets Giants know that actually, you know what, this could be an issue from our end, not the other end. So our support team can concentrate on collecting and communicating this information internally. So the changelog for patch 1.13, it doesn't say there's anything new in so much as we've got no new content added in. However, there's a lot to go through here, and I'm going to say this now. Sometimes we put these out and people will message and say, that hasn't fixed any of my problems. It might not do. It might be that the problem you're having is not fixed in this update. There might be a lot of stuff fixed, but your problem might not get fixed. So, you know, it depends what you're experiencing. You might read through this and say, I haven't had any of those issues at all, nothing whatsoever. You might go through and say, that's brilliant, that's fixed 10 problems I was having. It's all going to depend on what you're playing on, what issues you've had, what things you've done in the game. So, like I say, I'll read through most of the stuff and then you can kind of pick and choose. There's a few things I'm going to show you that I know I have had problems with, and we'll have a look at them and see if they're fixed in the game in just a moment. So, changes and improvements. Disabled resolution scaling settings when actively using upscaling technologies. Fixed a beacon light that appeared see-through from below. Which beacon light? We don't know. It doesn't say. Fixed achievement for collecting stones in the Epic Games version. Fixed AI herbicide logic so workers correctly detect already treated areas in weed-infested fields. Nothing worse than being infested with weeds. Fixed an issue where engine sound could cause audio output to stop working. This happened to me on one of my mod reviews. Just bang. It was fine on the recording, but not in game, which was weird. I've had a load of people over the last few weeks message me saying, are you having any problems with game audio? Mine keeps cutting out. Apparently, that has now been fixed. Now, I will say this as well. Will any of these changes or fixes create other problems? I don't know. It can do sometimes. So, fixed an issue where mower work areas were calculated incorrectly. Fixed attaching implements when multiple implements were already attached to it. Fixed collisions between multiple containers affecting each other. Fixed hold strength of mounted objects such as containers. Fixed issue preventing containers from being opened while loaded. I had this problem. So loading it onto trailers, loading it onto the one they give you as part of the update we got with the wood containers, you couldn't open the doors once it was on a trailer. You had to put it on the ground. Apparently that's been fixed. We will check that in a little while. Fixed issues where mission vehicles will remain persistent. Fixed issue where multiplayer players did not have access to a flashlight. Not helpful. Fixed issue where the game could rarely get stuck load past 89% due to an invalid liftable axle state. But again, I did have a lot of people messaging me saying, I don't understand this, I can't get my game to load. I would always say to people, disable your mods first, try it again. If it works, could be a mod conflict. If it's still a problem, then it could be an issue with the map, could be an issue with the game. Apparently there has been an issue, but obviously a very rare one. Fixed mud not accumulating on Michelin XM47 tyre variants. Fixed Storymaster spreader shovel not being functional in multiplayer. Fixed tension belts not spanning over the fillable pallets. Fixed unloading value calculations that caused invalid percentages, e.g. NEXAT seeder tank. Improved AI behaviour on certain vehicle types to more optimally handle headland corners. Improved AI harvesting behaviour for headlands to follow optimal clockwise, counterclockwise or rotation. Improved prioritisation of button mappings shown in the help menu top left corner. Modding, if you are a modder. Added new carbon material. Carbon pattern 02. Mercedes-Benz truck pack. So now we go into the specifics. Added grain extension for the U2400. I'm going to check that. Added missing GPS sounds. Added CZ translation. Improved manual shifting behaviour on automatic transmissions. That was a problem I was having when I originally got that on my Let's Play. I sold it again because I was struggling with it a little bit. That may have been fixed. Various adjustments on several machines. Visual upgrades on the Arox and Actros. Precision farming 1.3 added setting to control tramline track spacing so it fits the Fendt Rogator, for example. So there were a lot of people did message me and say I don't understand, there aren't settings for this piece of equipment that I'm using, so maybe that has been fixed for you. Added support for custom fertilizer types on map XML. Improved pH nitrogen value detection in some cases to still apply the correct value. Adjusted orientation of John Deere R975i power spray work lights. Fixed displayed field size calculation for multiplayer clients. Fixed nitrogen and pH values in the tram lines. Fixed UI displaying a perfect 100 environmental score incorrectly. But what was it? What did it show it as? Anyway, fixed. Improved accuracy of costs and earnings in the eco analysis. Improved AI behaviour on fields that were already partially limed or fertilised. That's good. Improved pH visualisation on the mini-map. Plains and Prairies Pack 1.3. Updated colours for several vehicles with scanned colour data. Fixed usage of manual shifters on versatile Nemesis. Various adjustments on several machines. And the NEXAT pack, fixed UI conflict with other help menu extensions, various adjustments on several machines. So, as you can see, a whole load of stuff. Now, like I say, 3 or 4 of those things I have had problems with. So I'm going to go and have a look and see if, from my perspective, those things have been fixed and sorted. There may be a ton of other stuff that in there you think, yep, that's brilliant, tick, tick, check, check, brilliant. You might have gone through that and gone, but I haven't had any of those problems. Again, that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is jump into the game, check out the stuff. A lot of the stuff is that I'm curious about is to do with the Mercedes-Benz pack and with the wood containers, opening and closing of doors. Other stuff is going to be quality of life improvements, things that may be a little bit behind the scenes that you won't necessarily see visually, but you might at some point go, oh, hang on a minute, I've done it a few times. Oh, when did that get fixed? You know, there you go. So I'll jump onto that now. Let's have a look and see if these things are now working. Here we are then on my test map. Like I said, there's only certain things I can show you. Certain things are going to be behind the scenes. Some things I haven't encountered. Some things might be specific to you. So I'm going to sort of have a look through some of the things that stood out to me. Now, the engine sound could cause audio output to stop working. That only happened once to me, and it was random. So I've no way of testing that. Also the one that said about uploading to 87, 89% and then stopping. Again, I haven't encountered that. My game uploaded fine. What I will say though is the game updated. I came in and I did some I purchased soil information for my maps on precision farming. I did 3 of the fields, and when I clicked on the 4th one, the game crashed, which I hadn't experienced before. So, you know, who knows? When I came back in again, did it again, it worked fine. So possibly just that, you know, sometimes there's a bit of crispiness. It just takes a while for it to bed in. Anyway, one of the things that stood out was to do with the containers, wasn't it? It was fixed issue preventing containers from being opened while loaded. So we have a trailer. This is on the container on the trailer that came with the pack. So we can go to there, L1, open door, fixed. So you can open them while they're on a trailer. Makes life a lot easier. If so, you can pull up, you can load your logs in, drive it off, and then, you know, sell it. You haven't got to take it off, put it on the floor, load the logs, put it back on. That's brilliant. But also, to prove the point, you don't need to use the trailer that comes in the pack. You can stick it on any old flatbed. This is just a flatbed bale trailer, the DPW. It's on the back of there, strapped down with tension straps. Go over there, L1, X. Nice, that's working. Good to know. There's nothing else in the changes and improvements section I think I can show. Oh, the other thing, it does say improved prioritization of button mappings shown in the help menu top left. Like I say, it's difficult to know because depending on what you attach top left, will depend on what comes up in my order. That could be more to do with PC if you map your own buttons potentially, but I couldn't see anything that was going to stand out there. A Mercedes-Benz pack then. This is important. So, added grain extension for the U2400. I'll show you it in just a moment, but let's go into here and let's go to medium tractors, which is where you find it. Now, this is not for the that one. My mind's blanked. There's a name for it. It's not for this one. It's for this one here. So it comes with the agricultural platform like that, 2200 litres. Extension now, which is pretty cool, which gives us, what's it, 6,500 litres. Much better proposition. Obviously you can put trailers and stuff in the back as well if you want to. Then back to frame. We haven't got anything that works on the frame of that yet, but you know, modded stuff might come. Once you have got the back on there, you have got the option then for the main colour, which is the main colour of the vehicle, cover colour, which does your cover on the top, then your rim colour and stuff. So that adds that onto the back of it. We'll go and have a look at that now, and I have to say it's looking pretty swish. I like that. Chunky old back. Would be pretty cool if you could have a back like that, not necessarily for livestock, but more of a kind of a covered flatbed. And anyway, I don't know. We've got this. That's a bonus. We're happy with that. So we go into here, open cover for loading in, if you, whatever it is you're doing it from a silo, from a harvester, whatever it might be. We have got tip side left and right. I've got on tip side left at the moment, so we can unload here, which does that. Or once you've got it on your tip side, if I go L1, we can open flap, which does that, which doesn't tip it. That being said, this doesn't have tension straps. I mean, you could still, could you slide stuff under there? Not sure you could, but anyway, it gives you the option to do that either side as well. So we can open and close our flap, open and close our cover. As that on. Now, something else it also says in the Mercedes-Benz bit was improved manual shifting behaviour on automatic transmissions. Now, on my Let's Play, I was using one of these, the Dalbo power chain. So I'm going to drop that down. That is much better. Now, admittedly, I was doing it. Who says? Well, that only requires 180 horsepower. This is 240 horsepower. So I don't know if that is better. You know, it still keeps bogging down. It slows down and stops. When it gets up into high gear, it still just goes. And we've got way more horsepower than is required to pull that. Yeah, the problem is it gets up to speed and it keeps jumping, trying to jump into high gear, which it can't do, and then when it can't jump into high gear, it then drops down into low gear. I don't know then with that. Improved manual shifting behaviour on automatic transmissions. Don't know. Does that? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? I'm not sure if that is better. That's cool. Well, there you go. That's that bit. So that's under the Mercedes-Benz truck pack. Now we'll go on to now. I've got nothing under the Plains and Prairies because there wasn't a lot. On the NEXAT pack was, you know, various adjustments on several machines, fixed usage of manual shifters on versatile Nemesis. You know, there's not much. It was the precision farming that had quite a lot of stuff in it. So we'll go and check out the adjusted orientation of John Deere R975i Power Spray work lights. So here is said machine. Now again, it depends. You might have not used this machine at all. I haven't used it, not since the pack came out and we had a kind of look at some of the equipment and machinery. So it says it's changed the work light orientation. The work lights are here. I can only assume that when the lights were turning on, they weren't pointing down the beam, the spar. I guess. What we'll do, let's turn them on. There. Right, so that's put. All of these are now on and seem to be facing forward. Do we have ones in the rear? We don't, but these ones here are facing directly out this way. I guess when you're in the cabin, you're looking out, you want to see the spray, you want to see if it's doing what it should be doing. And you know, like I say, unless you've operated this a lot and you notice that there was a problem with the lights, all I can say is, look, this is what the lights are doing now. It says they've been improved, they've been adjusted. Turn the lights off, fold it back up again. That's that. Right, so next few things under precision farming that I can show you. I say I can show you. Added setting to control tramline track spacing. So this is an important one. If we go into here and we've got all of our fields and we've got our precision farming on, as you can see here. If I click on my field, a lot of people are still asking me, I get messages saying, how do I do the tram lines? If you do that, so you need to click on the field or the area it's on. So these ones are specific fields, so I would click on the number for the specific field. If you've made your own field and it's in an area, like for example this one, I click on the area like that and then come down to there and it says tram lines. Once you click on tram lines, so you've got your tram line width. This sets it up to work with the width of the sprayer you're using. So if you've got a 15 metre sprayer, you've got an 18 and it'll go all the way up to 60, I think it is, 60 metres. So that's to do with how often the tram lines will come up. So if I'm running a 60 metre sprayer, I don't need tram lines every 15 metres. They need to be so far apart that when we run our 60 metre sprayer, that'll work. But where the problem was coming in was, it would do that, and you might set it for whichever vehicle you were operating. But for example, the Rogator and certain other sprayers, when you get into the vehicle, you can actually open up the track width of the treads of the tyres. So whilst the tram lines were the right distance apart between each set of tram lines, the tram lines themselves were either too narrow or too wide. So what you can do now is come down to here, and you can actually set the track width of the tram lines themselves. So 2.5, 3, 3.5 and back again. So we can adjust those so you get a more accurate tram line depending on what equipment and machinery you're using. And then you can change your work direction and stuff, leave it automatic, or you can fiddle around with directions and stuff if you wanted to do that as well. So that's one thing that's changed. Next thing it mentions as well in here was it was to do with various different trackings. It was cost analysis, improved accuracy of costs and earnings in the eco analysis. I don't tend to dive into those. I'm not a big, you know, I run it, and if the if our environmental score goes up, great. If it doesn't, no biggie, honest. But we can come down again. If we come to here, economic analysis, improved accuracy of costs and earnings. So I'm assuming they were off. Again, without having a direct comparison, that's a difficult one to know, but there's your analysis if you want to do that. If we close that, and let's come to here, for example. If I now go into my soil types, the final one in here says improved pH visualization on the minimap. Now that's when you're actually spraying. This actually looks better anyway, I'm not going to lie. If you go to pH, those lines look a lot smoother, neater and tidier. Sometimes I have found them to be, scrappy's the wrong word, but they do seem a bit smoother. Again, am I imagining that? I don't know. But that's more down to this, down the bottom here, bottom left, that when you're actually doing your spraying and whatever it is you might be doing, bottom left, it should be showing it better visually. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab some lime. We'll whiz out to one of those fields and do some liming and see what that mini-map is showing bottom left. And I think that's pretty much all the things that I could show you of the problems and issues that I've potentially been having. Other things that if you're having different issues that may have been fixed, there may be other things you'll need to go and actually test yourselves. But that's all the things I'm pretty sure that I've had an issue with. Yeah, let me just go and grab some lime and let's see what the mini-map's doing. I thought, why not, let's use the Unimog again. So we've got 6,500 litres in the Unimog, and we've got the fertiliser sprayer that came as all the additional equipment as well. I'm looking bottom left at the mini-map. Like I say, I'm not quite sure what it is that's going to new and improved and that kind of thing, but it says it is. Does it seem crisper and cleaner to you? Again, let's say it's improved. I'm just looking to see if there's any difference. as we go across the different soil types. Is there any difference? Seems to be a little bit. I don't know. It does seem a little bit more defined. The fidelity seems a little bit better. I've often found it can be a little bit straggly, but again, that could be map specifics. It could be whether the map's got its own precision soil map, you know, that kind of thing. But it does. That's what it's saying. Improved pH visualization on the mini-map. Has your visualization been improved? That's the question. It does seem okay, like I say. But there you go. That's it. That's all the things I can show you. That is update and changelog for 1.13. I hope it has solved some of your problems. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. As always, thanks for watching.